There we are. Hello, everyone. Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and we're going to do a little bit of leather work. Thank y'all for showing up today. Hope y'all enjoy it. And let me get these guys in here that are helping me out. There we go.
Good evening, everybody, or afternoon, or morning, whatever it is you're watching and listening. Well, whatever. From a personal note, from myself and from Carl, thank you for supporting the Virtual Craft Festival. I'm Jamie, JP Woodwork, from the YouTubes and the Instagrams, and that is me.
Alrighty. There he is.
Hello, everybody. Jake Thompson here. Look up Jake Thompson or Northside Custom Crafts anywhere you find me. Jamie lets me do a show with him every week called Saturday Morning Cartoons. And that's it. We're here to see Joey and see what he does. He does amazing stuff. I hope everybody's had fun so far today on the Virtual Craft Festival. And let's go, Joey.
There we go. All right, guys. Let me get it switched over to here. There we go. And today we're going to be doing a little leather work. So, can y'all see everything fine there?
Yes, mate. Yep.
All right. So, usually what I do when I start off doing this stuff is I got to make a pattern. So, just use some cardboard of some sort or whatever, and I come up with patterns. And usually what you'll do is like you'll take a knife like such, and you're gonna. Usually I'll start off with the sheet of paper and get basically the rough estimate, and then start refining it. And sometimes these take a lot. You're gonna mess up, so there's a lot of trial and error before you get to a good pattern that you're gonna eventually start making stuff with. So uh, it's not rocket science to do this. You can get a knife, sheet of paper, flip over, and you compensate the thickness of the knife and to do your stitch line. And kind of a quick overview. I don't have a piece of paper, but what you do is you're going to set your knife out and you're going to trace it on a sheet of paper, and then you'll start from there. You know that you're going to need a piece to overlap, and you try to make these patterns so like this is a double pattern. This is for a left-handed knife sheath or right-handed. And as you can tell, I keep trying to go this way, but I need to remember the camera's coming from the top down. So what this flap is, this is the part that is going to come around and your belt goes through. Okay. So when you try to make these, try to do it for both sides. It makes it easier. And depending on which one you're going to use, like we're going to do a right-handed one day, you would just fold that back and you get a piece of leather and you put it on there and you trace it out. Now, if you're going to line it with something on the inside, so leather has your finish face and then it has the rough face. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're going to trace your pattern out. Like this one, this is going to be the side that people see or that shows. So you want to have this in this orientation, trace it out, and you cut it out. Now, if you're going to line it with something on the backside when you get done, just to give it a better finish, when you do this pattern or this cutout, you got to flip this around and trace it in this orientation. So that way, when you get it, when it's cut out, this is going to actually, the two unfinished sides are going to glue together and you're left with two finished sides. See that?
Mm-hmm.
So I got tons of patterns that I've made over some time that I've done, started doing this. And, leather is going to go on, goes by ounces or weight. And today we're going to be using, this is like a 6-ounce leather, kind of thick for what we're doing, but this is some old scrap stuff that I have, and that's what we're going to be using. So
There's a question from Connie, Joey. She wants to know, will you be wet molding it over as well?
no, On these type of knife sheaths, you don't have to do it, because when I made this pattern, it's such a tight fit. Like, for instance, that this knife sticks in there, it's not going to come out. You got to pull it to come out. So uh, you don't have to do it. You can if you want, um, but you got to understand sometimes when you do this, and if you're, I mean, you may have trouble pulling it out. So if you're going to wet mold something in leather, you need to make sure, if you're going to mold it, when you do your molding, that you leave that channel to where this comes out, and don't leave uh like a hooking point. You know what I mean? But these sheaths are tight enough to where it's not going to come out. I mean, it just won't. And there's really no need to. Now, on a firearm, yes, I would. On a firearm of if I did one for a particular firearm like this is molded. This wasn't completely finished. It still needs to be finished a little bit more, but you do mold them, because these are set in a particular angle. When you're wearing this, it's set to where if somebody was to try to come up behind you and pull this, they're not going to be able to pull this out, especially if it's wet molded to that firearm. It's dang near impossible, and by the time you feel that tug, you're reacting to it, you know. But and if you're, who knows, riding a horse, whatever, like we do down here, it's it's not gonna the chances of it coming out are not there. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, they put straps or whatever.
I
But
think
anyhow,
the riding a horse part was what Connie was fishing for anyway.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
You
But
certainly
yeah,
don't want an unexpected tug.
but this is when you're cutting this, there's what is that saying, Jake? You say 100 different ways to punch a donkey.
Yeah, there's 1,000 different ways to punch a donkey.
So I like to use, this is just what I've always used just a regular box blade. Um, they make blades that you can use like this that are fairly sharp. I mean, you could come in here and put this blade right here, push down, and it cuts it, and you're done, right? So there's different forms of this. I don't like the feel of these. I don't have as much control as I do with using a box blade. Um, if you're going to cut a pattern out like this is just a cutting board. What do you want to call this? Just a regular old little plastic or
Is it HDPE or something?
Just a
yeah,
HDPE cutting board.
yeah. A lot of times I like cutting straight onto this granite, but you're going to waste a lot of blades. So that's just me. I have a better feel, and this doesn't slide. This kind of slides around, but it's just simple as going in here. Do y'all got a good view on this?
Yes,
And
mate.
you
Yeah.
just come
Yeah.
in and you just follow your lines. Take your time, not in a hurry. The better you can cut this out straighter, the less work it's going to be as we progress through this. So we just get it down in there, and this is pretty thick, so it takes a few pulls on this to get it through. But just kind of work your way. You don't have to push down too hard. Just get your line, and then the knife will just continue to follow on that cut. Um, and yeah,
I know they usually say, I mean, even with carving, they recommend cutting opposite away from you, but is that just more comfortable for you?
yeah. Well, you do. I mean, that's a good point you bring up. I would not cut towards you, because this is
Yeah.
just it can let loose, and this thing going to cut right through your finger like butter. So the best
Mhm.
thing safety wise is just go away from you. You know, you can, and it just a lot safer. I trust me. I've already been there down that road, and you'll cut yourself. So this blade here is a little dull, but you just follow along. and just, you don't have to be perfect. In the other steps that I do, you'll straighten these edges out and you'll be left with a nice clean finish. The most important thing when you're working with leather are your edges. You're going to spend most of your time cleaning those edges and getting them burnished as much as possible that you can, because that's gonna put a nice finish on your work. So when you're burnishing them, I got different ways to do it, and we'll get to that here in a minute. I'm just kind of trying to show you cutting this out. This leather is a little thicker, so it takes a little bit of force, but as you can see, you just work yourself around and get it out. I'm sorry if y'all can hear some kids in the background.
It's all good.
Everybody
Oh,
knows.
good.
Everybody's had that struggle, man. Everybody knows.
S-
Jamie,
Speaking of,
who's all in the chat there, Jamie?
that's actually a good segue. Speaking about, going to talk about kids in the background. Let's read out some of the people that's out in the chat. Well, it's got one of the biggest kids of them all. We've got Kez Andor Phil, Spirit and Bear, and we have Miss Robin Jacobson,
Welcome.
Mr. Wayne the Woodturner, Mr. Mint himself, done a 2-hour special today.
Champion, man.
We have John Jigsy Shed, Michael McEwen, Canny, you cheeky gill. Jeff S, Andrew from AGK Woodworks. We have Michael McEwen. Let's have it, Jeff S, and Needable, Huey Lionheart. Keep it classy, Huey.
Keep it classy.
Mr. Shane Hurst. We have Cindy Keogh. Scott Hampton from Hampton's Woodturning, who was just on before Huey. No, before Joey. Mr. Jake Thompson's out there. Wayne Big Feet is out there. Jen's out there.
Hello.
Shane Hurst, Donna Love Angel's out there, and Needable. Scott the Blue Light Turner was out there, and Scott was on earlier as well. Let's scroll up a little bit more.
Anita Ball's throwing jabs at us. Man. She told Joey the sound of the kids no big deal because she's used to me and you.
Yeah, I can see where she's coming from with that.
Yeah, she's probably not wrong.
Yeah, Mr. Martin Breach with Rain, Sleet or Snow's out there. Kim Thomas is out there. Mr. Carl Jacobson's out there.
Clive.
Or Clive Jacobson, should I say? Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Michael McEwen's out there. Let's keep scrolling up. Joe Garofalo's out there.
What's up, Joe?
I think that's everybody at the moment, as far as I can tell. If I've missed anybody, I apologise.
Welcome, everyone. Thank y'all for coming out.
So I have a question for you, Joe.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Did you, someone in your family teach you how to do this? Did you YouTube it? Did like an old man teach you?
I YouTubed it. That's how I did.
So you click the search bar.
Yep, click the search bar. We wanted to make some things a long time ago when we were like doing this a whole lot, and it was a cool deal to bring into to our store and stuff. So just got on YouTube, figured out how to do it, and started working it. And took me a little bit. It just got to practice like anything. It's not hard. Just take your time. You can't be man, this leather is tough. It's usually I've never had hard.
Zach Higgins is out there saying he's listening while he works. Zach, your stream finished ages ago, buddy.
He's still working. Still working.
It's still pouring resin.
There's you just got to take your time and be patient with this. This is not, you're not going to sit down and finish. I mean, you can, but when you're going to put a finish on this stuff, and you got to do it in steps and let it dry. Don't hurry it up. It just just got to go with it. Like once you get this done here, this portion, now what we would do is we're going to get this section here done, because this is going to be the first thing that you're going to do is come around, get this ready, because you're going to sew this. This has to be done before you fold this around and do everything else. But I got a little ahead of myself. So when you're doing this, okay, you have to, if you're going to dye it, now's the time that you want to do it. If you're going to put a dye on, like say something like this, and I got a lot of them up there, you have to do it now, because this is going to be folded over and sewn, and you'll never get to that portion again. So you would come in, dye it, then let it set, and then you'd come back in and start working your edges. So I have one ready to go, but let's just skip the dye part, dyeing and then what you would do here. This is an edger, kind of like if you're going to put a chamfer on a piece of wood, right? You come in here and you get this, and you just come along and you do your edges. The most important thing that you want to do is have these edges done nicely, because that you see how it puts that edge on here. Now if these are a little off from cutting, you can
Is there any way you could hold it up to the camera a little bit, Joe?
You see how that puts
yeah, I see it now,
like a bevel on it. So you would come around the back too and do the same thing.
Dr. Bob's in. He says greetings from Detroit.
Welcome.
And Bonnie's in there as well. She says, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button.
And as you can see, it starts forming that edge to where it can get you, if y'all can see that. And then you come in. What you want to try to do here is you're going to get a sponge and some water, right? And should I have my sponge dripping in this here? But you don't want to get this sopping wet, because it'll turn to mush. But you come in here and you get it wet. And what that does is it allows you, and if you're going to get it, just make sure you get these edges wet. And it may get a little loud. I hope not. But you come
Keep
in
it hydrated.
Yeah.
And you use, like, I've got these flex shaft on Dremel, and you come in here and you start burnishing these edges. And you're going to spend a lot of time doing this, because you want to get these slick. Okay. And you could tell, like, if you're using something like this, you need to try to get your speed correctly, because you'll start burning this leather, and you could smell it. If you've ever smelt hide burn, you'll smell it, and you don't want to do that, So and this is just to get you part of the way. Then you come back and you do another step after this to get these edges.
What sort of smell would you put it similar to, Joe? Like maybe like burnt hair or something like that?
Yep.
Yep.
Not a burger then.
It's not a good smell, Jamie.
And you'll know that when you're getting there, they start getting kind of slick, and you're about done with this tool. You need to move on to the next step. You can try to, and they'll have a little discoloration, but that's because it's laying that leather down. It's starting to slick it, if y'all can see that.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting rid of the grain, like the
Yeah. What you're trying to do is get it smooth, so when you when you go to put that edge coat on it, it's smooth. It looks like glass, because that's what the ultimate deal is, to get these edges done so that it gives this whole thing a finish. And they're going to be very presentable once it's done. You're going to see those edges. So these need to be done. They need to be done correctly and right if you want something to look good. Is if you go, I don't care where you go on YouTube, if you go on there and you see, a lot of people are going to tell you work those edges. That's, you're going to spend a lot of time forming them and getting them, excuse me, getting them done correctly. This makes it a lot easier, so you don't have to do it the manual way. If you can do it another way, and I'll show you here in a minute. But I like getting it to a point with this Dremel. Makes it a lot easier on your hands. And you can get these little deals. They come in different designs. So like, this is really too big for this. They make a one that's got a smaller crease in it that helps out, and it'll form this a little better on the edges, you know. So
Dremels are turning out to be a pretty good tool to use on just about everything today, right?
oh man,
Yeah. Yeah.
I found these a long time ago when I started doing this, and it was like, I didn't see it anywhere. I was just like, when I saw the flex shaft, it hit me. I was like, man, I can use this for that. And it makes it a lot easier, because I had a piece of cocobolo chucked up in a lay, and I turned it to make those grooves. And I would take these outside and run them while the lay was running. I would do my edges on it. Um, and then I found that, and I was like, that's,
Winner, winner.
that's winner. So you can do edges with, like this is another edge beveler. The handle is a
Matt says, Coco, what?
cocobolo.
He says,
Cocobolo.
Diet Cocoa.
There you go. So you can use
Coca Cola.
the wood handle here, and you can burnish this. But I like to go in here after I'm done with the Dremel, and I like to come in here and work them. And this is kind of thin, but you sit here and just rub on it, and it's really going to get it slicked up. And you can start feeling, y'all can probably see that little mark on there, and it's starting to really shine up. Can y'all see that?
Yeah, it's darkened up.
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jigsy's got to take off. He's a bit tired, bless him.
Later, John. Bless your heart.
Thank you, Jigsy. So yeah, so you just go in here and you start slicking these up.
Jenny says she's proud of Jake.
I'm proud of me right now, too. I'm proud of Jamie, too.
I smiled.
I don't even want to know.
We did good, Joey. Just know that. Okay.
Yeah, we kept it classy for you.
Mhm. So that's pretty much dry right now, but that's dark because it's
Yeah, because you've laid it
burnished.
down. You're burnishing it. Yeah, and I mean, it's gonna leave a mark, but when you put the edge coat, you'll never see that. It's gonna do if we use a brown edge coat, it's gonna be brown. Using this stuff here though, and I'll show it here a little bit later. You got to be very careful, because once that stuff gets on the leather, it ain't coming off. And it's just like anything else, you're not gonna get it off. So you got to be very careful when you're applying it. Best thing to use is a Q-tip. That's how I do it. But anyhow, that's the gist of this. You would cut this round if you wanted to, and then what you do is, of course, we dye this, let it set, and we would then use some glue this down, and then we'd throw some stitches in here. And you know, like this beveler, if you look at this, it doesn't put as much of a pronounced edge on here. There's different sizes, you know, versus this one. This is a little more pronounced, gives you a little more reveal. See how that is?
A big, like a bigger chamfer.
Yeah, they've got
Mhm.
bigger sizes. I really like this brand. It comes from Tandy Leather. Uh, you know, you can find these on Amazon as well. Uh, there's a bunch of different ones. I got a bunch of different ones in here that I use. You know, this is a little. I think this is a little bit more, a little wider than that one. But this is I like this size. This is a number 1, if I'm not mistaken, and I got bigger ones.
There's a question from Michael McEwen, buddy.
Mhm.
He says, "What kind of glue do you use? Hide glue?"
Yeah, it's there's I had this, so this is can y'all see that?
Barely.
Yeah, a little bit, mate. You
So
can lift it
that's
up a bit, mate.
it's a
There you go.
rubber cement. You get this at your leather stores like Tandy Leather. I'm using this till I finish, but there's a brand called Barge. Let me see if I can grab it real quick.
Oh yeah, barge cement. I've heard of that.
That.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah.
see that? Okay.
Hmm.
That's usually what I use. This is like once you apply it, you let it tack up and you put it together, you're not getting it apart. You'll rip the leather before it comes apart. So that's what you use when you're doing this stuff. This works good. Nothing wrong with it. Um, I use this a lot. Barge is kind of hard to find. I lucked out and found some, but this was available, so I got this, and then I was able to get some barge, so I got some of that as well.
Nice.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah. Anyhow, this is kind of getting out of. I usually uh, do it different, but so we get that just is the process of what I do. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. I'll usually cut this out. I'll form this, and then I'm gonna before I do the edges on this, because I know that this is gonna get sewn. I don't touch any of this yet. I wait, and I'll show you in a minute. And then I'll usually dye it, and I'll wait to get these edges in a later step, and I'll show you that in a minute. But so like this here, I'm gonna show you how I glue it. So I'm gonna make to where we're going to, if you're gonna use a liner, I'm kind of jumping back and forth, sorry. But if you're gonna use a liner, wait to do the edges till you glue this, okay? So it's just real simple thing here. Once you cut them out, uh, just gonna get some glue and just spread it on here. Real simple. Try to get all the corners so nothing will, everything gets a little bit of glue on it. And this stuff's pretty potent, so I'm kind of used to it already. It's
Yeah.
just,
Melt,
it's
melt,
pretty strong. Don't do this inside the house. Your wife might get after you.
set your nose hairs on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. And you apply this to both pieces. And this stuff will tack up pretty quick. So, yeah, anybody have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll try to get them answered.
What's your biggest piece to date, Joe? Like, what's the most amount of time you spent on a piece?
Those gun holsters. Um, I usually, if there's no tooling on it, usually about takes from cut to finish, you're probably looking about a week. week and a half, depending, because I don't do it full time, you know.
Hmm.
But once you get leather wet, should wait. And needs to be dried. Everything needs to dry. Every step needs to dry. When you're putting water or glue, you should really wait till you move on to the next step. Don't hurry it up, because you're just gonna have it's gonna fail on you. You know,
Yeah.
it's what I've learned. Um, so uh, yeah, about a week. I I've got I actually recently got somebody reached out and they want a sling for their rifle, and another guy a pistol holster. Um, so we'll see what happens. Um,
Connie asks, do you have any leather burning kits to put design in leather?
I think watching Kez's show today, he kind of figured he got some ideas, right?
yeah, that and what I plan to do. Of course, I got that laser too. I can use a laser. I've already put some leather in it and figured out the settings of what I need, but um, you can use that as well. I really like that Dremel to do some stuff with this. That's gonna be that's gonna happen. Uh, but you know, you gotta be when you're burning leather, you gotta be very careful because you'll really scorch it. Um, I found that out with the laser. It'll just turn to a mess. You'll char it and it'll smear, and then trying to get that burnt like charcoal off, it's tough. So you got to be very careful when you're doing it. That's what I found out, you know. Um, but yeah, I really like that little torch. That's pretty neat.
That's cool.
So uh, all we're gonna do here is put this on here like this, and might get a little loud, but you want to come in here and hammer that down, and that's together, you know. Got some glue on there, but that's not going to be seen. But when you do something like this now, you're going to see, oh man, that looks horrible. It's not straight. That's where you're edging. And another tool that I have here is I got all these all. I got another flex shaft with the sander. And once we get what time are we at, guys?
You're
I want to get
You've got 28 minutes to go.
28 minutes to go. Okay. So once we do this, then we dye it and we come up to this.
Oh.
And we have this. I've already sewed this in. That looks like bad. But what you do, what you do,
I was waiting to see what word you were going to use.
I almost slipped up there. But this gets pretty. I usually turn I have a vacuum on, but you come in here and you just start sanding, and you get this, get it even. Can y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ward Wilson's in, buddy.
Welcome, Ward. And y'all can see that flying. So, and this is just, you just got to by eye and just get it all smoothed out.
So right here's where you're fixing all the imperfections between the
Yes.
different cuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I suppose is that this where you're doing like the glue squeeze out and stuff like that as well.
And you just, and you know, some of the better leather workers might be like, yeah, you're cheating, but hey, it makes it look nice. I've learned that the edges, I've seen some stuff before that's, you know, it's like, whew, you got to take your time and get these edges done correctly, because you will, when you put that edge coat and you go to finish, all those imperfections will come out, and there ain't no going back. It's done. So here's where you want to take your time and you want to get this stuff really, really, really nice and even.
Jen Smith says it's not cheating, it's modernization.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
get this out of the way here. So you see how those are, it's all nice and done. And next thing I'll do before I finish this edge, I go and I stitch it. So let me get that over here.
Hmm.
There we go. Can y'all see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right.
that's a sewing machine and a half. That is.
By
Oh,
golly.
yeah. I'm not the best seamstress, so if I mess up, try to start this off as best as I can. And you just, y'all got a good view, Jake?
Yeah, it'll
Yes,
work.
mate. Yeah.
It's doing
All
good.
right. And here we go. I missed a step, but I'll show y'all in a minute.
Connie
Not,
says it beats sewing it by hand.
yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, I've tried to do it, and it's pretty rough when you're sewing, stitching by hand. But hey, it looks nice too. And this thing, it's pretty thick leather, and it's going through it like nothing.
Do you have to have specialised needles for leather?
Yes, yeah. These needles are, there's different sizes, just like anything else.
The right tool for the job.
Yeah. And then we're gonna reverse it.
Stick your tongue out a little bit.
Yeah, get some concentrating.
Mm-hmm.
Just how, if you remember Ellen doing it this morning. So uh, you just double stitch it there and just kind of strengthens it. There we go. And you just, anything else, we're gonna, can't get my finger. There we go. You just want to pop that.
Do it, Jamie. Camera.
Camera!
Camera.
Dang it. Yeah, there you go. Boy, I messed that one
Anita
up.
Ball's got a question. Says, what kind of thread do you use?
It's a special thread for this machine. I forgot the weight. Wow, that's one thing I forgot to check. There we go. Hold on. This is what you get. These are the spools, and this is a, what's that? 8-ounce leather, 8-ounce string that you get. Yeah, there you go.
Martin says, Joey is tougher than I am. I'm not a fan of leather work.
Patience.
And
I'll be
all you
honest,
do
Martin,
is
I can't imagine you getting into leather.
Slow pitch.
and on the you take once you get these pieces of thread out and just kind of burn them down. Now this isn't, I'll show you a finished part here in a little bit, or a finished one that I really took my time It's not
Yeah.
a very good representation. Um, but one thing I forgot to tell you is,
Scott the Blue Light Turner's got a question. He goes, "Does your wallet cry when you buy the thread?"
no, it's really it's the thread. That spool is I think they're around $18 for that spool, but that spool lasts you for a long time.
Hmm.
It goes a long ways. It's if you're gonna buy different colors, that's where you know
That's
you're
where the
gonna.
price goes up.
Yeah, well, not so on some of them they're pretty much all the same, but there's just certain colors that do cost a little bit more, and buy a little bit more, and probably like $3 more a spool. Uh,
Hmm.
but when you're doing certain projects, if you're going to start coloring and doing certain things to the leather, depending on the dye or what you're doing, you want to match the thread. It kind of like anything that you do, it kind of needs to go with the thread needs to be matched to what your colors you're using or whatever. Um, this little tool here, uh, this makes your stitch line, and it can be set at any different length. So what you do with this thing is you come in. Oh, dang it, man,
Woo.
slippery little sucker.
Yeah.
Press down, and this part runs against the edge of the leather. And you're going to come in here and just follow around. And what that does is that makes you a stitch line to follow. See? So if you're hand sewing and you're going to poke the holes with, I don't have one right here close to me, or you're going to use a sewing machine, that's just a line to follow, and it sets that thread in there. And just makes it look nice
Um,
and clean.
Connie says she got her son a box of leather scraps from eBay. Got some crazy colours and patterns. Great from small projects like this one.
Yeah,
I
these are
thought there was
quick and
only
easy,
two
Connie.
kind: black and white
Um,
and brown.
I'm hoping to like these patterns. I'm going to transfer them over, and then what I'm going to do is with the laser, I'm going to cut them in acrylic, and then probably put them out to sell. So they're ready made, and you just put them on your leather, trace, and cut. And there, it takes the figuring portion out because I got bukus of different patterns uh, for different knife sheaths. Like this one here is one that's it's an angle blade. There's another piece, and your pocket knife goes here in the middle, and then you can come in and do all sorts of tooling. This isn't long enough to show uh, a tooling part, but let's just. I mean, we can do one. What time we got, guys?
Got
I mean,
17 minutes
Uh,
to go.
okay. So if you're gonna tool and try to do something here, you just get your leather wet. Okay. Good thing to do is if you're gonna do like uh, let's say a basket weave, just kind of try to draw your line here, just a line. And what this stitch line does is give you a border. So you just kind of and I'm just using, these are tweezers. I'm just using the blunt end of it, and it just puts a line in the leather. It gives you something to follow. There's a different ways to do it, but we can get let me see, where's it at? A basket weave tool. Okay.
I got
And
you.
what this line does, it allows you to start from there and move on. And what you do is just come in here and just pop it. And you want to pop it in there and just continue to go.
Dr. Bob says, "What got you into leather work and when?"
I started leatherworking probably I get this. I haven't done anything. It's probably been about 5.5, 6 years when we moved to this new place and I built my new barn. Prior to that, probably a couple of years. So what, 8 years ago, I guess, or so, give or take, I started doing it. We had a brick and mortar store before we shut it down, uh, and we used to make a lot of crafts and stuff. And there was some leather items that we wanted to do, so I had to learn it. to incorporate it into our store. So just like anything else that I do, jumped on YouTube
Yeah, learn it.
and learn it and just practice and tried it. And you're gonna mess up. I mean, there's it's just nature of the beast. You're gonna just takes practice till you perfect it. And I'm by no means there's not good at this. There's a lot of other people that are way better than me, but I do what I do. You know. Uh,
Martin would like to know: do you know the retention level on your holsters?
no.
Okay.
How about no?
No.
There now you can put a retention deal in here. This thing is obviously way thick. I wouldn't. This was something that I tried. I mean, you could probably hurt somebody pretty good with just this. You wouldn't need the gun. Um, but there's things there you could put a retention. It's like a rubber grommet that and a two-part screw. And what that does, it puts pressure when your firearm's in here. It locks it in place to where it's another deal that won't allow it to slip out as easy. Um, I've done. I mean, when you start getting down to that, I don't know the answer to that, Martin. I don't. So anyhow,
That's okay.
once you get to this part here is when you still got to try to do the finishes or the edges, and this is the part that I wait to do it. Might be a little backwards to other people, but I come in here once I get my stitching done, and what I like to wait till this part of to do it is that it allows you because you can angle this more, so you can try to kind of get a good symmetry between these stitches and your edges, and you see how that leaves that like that. Can y'all see?
Hmm.
Okay, so I like to wait till this point to do it and just come around here and you work it. And then once you get to this part that you got to be patient with this, guys. I'm trying not. I need to remember I'm on camera here. But
Scott Hampton says the country's largest annual leather symposium/convention is happening this weekend in Sheridan, Wyoming.
nice.
Hmm.
So once you get to this point and you've done your bevel, you've already sanded. It's good. This is where you would come in, get this wet. I kind of jumped ahead a while ago, but you would once you get it to this point, this is where I come in and I get this nice and wet. And we come in and we start doing our beveling
Clive
or
Jacobson
burnishing.
says he has to go and get everything fired up. Good job, Joey. Thanks, Clive.
Thank
Take it
you.
easy, Clive.
But this is where you spend a little time, like I said, getting this done. And what time we at, guys?
12 minutes.
Uh,
ago.
12
12
minutes to
minutes.
go.
So this is pretty simple. An easy project. You don't need to use double leather like I did. But when you're done, another part. This is what you're going to be. What I ended up with, and you see how your edges are done. This is what you want to accomplish.
Just looks like one piece. Doesn't look
Yeah,
like a.
that's what you want. You don't want to be able to see those layers of leather. So when you do a good burnishing job and then you put your edge coat, even if you don't do a good burnishing job, when you put the edge coat, you're going to see those different lines in here. And you don't want to get that. This really makes this stand out when you've got good edges, and this is why you want to spend a lot of time on this. Now, once we get it to this point and we do the edge coat, then we come back and we put what we call Resolene, and I apply that with an airbrush, and that's a finished sealing coat that goes on top of this, and that gives you that real shiny, nice looking finish that you see.
Yeah, it looks
So,
good.
um, and I've done. These aren't finished. These are a little dusty. This was one of the first tooling jobs I did. It's, I mean, seeing what I see now, this isn't really good, but this is a holster that I did. But
That's
these were
awesome.
That is
some of
cool.
the first projects that I did when I started getting into leather work. Uh, that we did another ostrich gun holster. This is for a
That is super,
1911, I think. You know,
super
um,
cool.
yeah. So
Got a real nice shine and finish to
Like the
it.
colors
yeah,
on that.
yeah. And this was and when you do the dye, you don't have to use a dauber. I really don't like using this when I'm dyeing the leather. I like to use an airbrush. And an airbrush, you could come in and do a base coat, and then you can start coming in and you can start feathering in color to give you that two-tone look, like you see here. And yeah, it's pretty neat what you can do with the airbrush. But get back over here, bring it all in. But yeah, I
Um,
mean, I hope y'all found that
Hey,
useful. Um, if you have any questions, hit me up.
Robin says, "Can someone please let me in on the Clive Cole joke? I want to play too." Scott the Blue Light Turner accidentally called Carl Clive, so it's been a running joke all day,
and it's going to continue
and it's
through
going
your
to
show.
continue through his stream.
Need a drink of water there.
You
But
know, good. This is a lot of good information, Joey. I had no idea. No
yeah,
idea.
That was it, really interesting.
and that was a hurried up part. Usually once you cut it out and you dye or paint your leather, whatever you're gonna do, uh, the steps that you want to take is cut it out, stamp it if you're gonna do any tooling, let it dry, and you come back and you dye it, let it dry, and usually that's overnight. Each step overnight.
So
So
this
it's
this isn't quick win
nope,
projects here.
nope.
Uh,
So if you're gonna be doing a lot of these, you can cut them all out. If you're gonna stamp them, and then set them aside and let them dry. Next day, come back in, you dye them, set them aside and let them dry, and you move on to the next portion. So it's a process. It's not quick.
Like production.
Yeah, yeah, it takes time because you got to let it
Hmm.
dry. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot more to it, and there's a lot of helpful people out online too. It's where I learned. But I'm willing to answer any questions after this is done. If y'all have anything, just hit me up.
Michael McEwen earlier said next show is tooling, maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Don't be sorry, Scott. You've caused a lot of laughs today.
Yeah, it's all good, Scott. Don't be. Hey, we all need a good laugh. It's all good.
That was great.
Hashtag who
Oh,
is Colin
uh,
Jacobson?
well, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Jamie and Carl, thank y'all for giving me this opportunity to come on here and do
Who's
this.
Cole?
It's been fun. Well,
Carl, who?
Clive. I gotta get in this deal. But no, it's been awesome day. A lot of good makers on here. It was fun. Love doing this, watching everybody do this. But uh, y'all got anything y'all want to say? Try to.
Dr. Bob says you brought back very fond memories to me when I was in the Boy Scouts in the late 50s and 60s.
That's super cool.
It's fun. You can
Nice.
sit back and do this stuff. You know, uh, just making the pattern, and it's just
Hmm.
takes time. You're gonna.
What I will say is Mr. Jacobson is up next. I'm not sure of his first name, but he is up next. I will put a link to his channel or his stream in the chat for everybody. So go and check out Carl at the top of the hour. Carl? Who's Carl?
Yeah. Thanks.
There you go.
Thanks for having us on, Joey, and
Yeah,
Thank
hope
y'all.
everybody had
appreciate it.
fun all day. And I know we've had a good time all day. So can't wait till next
Hmm.
time, Jamie Pie.
We
Yeah,
got about 6 minutes, and we'll give everybody a chance to go do what they got to do before we get on over to Carl.
sounds like
Appreciate
a plan.
everybody.
All
Thank
right.
y'all. Bye.